Should you black out your microgreens? Written July 29th, 2024 by Garrett Corwin and narrated by Garrett Corwin. What do farmers mean when they say, quote, black out their microgreens? Blacking out is the process of depriving your plants of all light. Blacking out is possible at large scales in a dark room, and on a small scale, farmers will place blackout domes over each tray. If a farmer adds a blackout step, it happens after germination usually, sometimes in place of germination or as a substitute, but before using grow lights. Before we dive deeper into this topic of should you or should you not black out your microgreens, a bit about me. I'm the founder of Piedmont Microgreens, which is an indoor farm in Durham, North Carolina, where we grow about 400 trays of microgreens per week with a team of 2 full-time employees. Over the last 5 years, we've been in business. We've sold to chefs, wholesalers, schools, and farmers markets. We're also Harmonized GAP certified with the USDA for food safety to meet the standards required by our large distributors and retail partners. I'm also the co-founder of Microgreen Manager, which we'll touch on more at the end. So why include blackout at all? Plants need light to photosynthesize and survive. Plants can survive for a few days to a few weeks after germination using an internal energy reserve in its seed called the endosperm. The plant wants to find light sources, though, regardless of the endosperm. It knows it needs it eventually, and it tries to seek out light as soon as possible. So when you deprive a plant of light after germination, it begins to basically panic. The ensuing process is called etiolation. Etiolation causes the plant to elongate its stem. You can think of it as the plant stretching to reach as far as possible to seek out a light source. Remember, it needs light. If it doesn't get light, it's going to die. So why you should black out? Farmers will use a blackout step to stretch the stems, as we said, which makes them easier to harvest at the end of the grow time. Longer stems create more space between the lip of the tray and the crop canopy. Adding a blackout step is entirely unnecessary for most crops, though. Most varieties naturally develop a long stem that harvesting shouldn't be a problem. A few notable exceptions could be basil and arugula. Depending on your preferred grow time for these crops, the short stems can make harvesting a little bit difficult. If you're harvesting by hand, you have flexibility and control. You can angle your knife to reach lower on the stem below the lip of the tray. You can harvest slower to prevent damage to the crop or to the canopy. However, if you're using a mechanized harvester like the Quick Cut Greens harvester from Farmer's Friend, there's less margin for error. When using the Quick Cut for microgreen harvesting, it's often mounted to a table, which means the blade is in a fixed position. You lose the flexibility to angle the blade below the lip of the tray. Also, implicit in using the Quick Cut is that the whole harvest process is moving much faster. You're processing 10 to 50 times as many trays per hour. So in this context, you don't want trays with short stems where the harvester is likely to sort of mangle the canopy or clip the side of the tray. Why you shouldn't blackout, though? Blackout is costly. It will cost you extra time, extra steps, extra space, extra equipment, and extra cleaning. It takes more time to take, let's just say, a dozen crops or 100 crops of trays from germination and put them into blackout before moving them again to the grow lights. It makes your operation more confusing when you add an extra step in the production process. It requires extra space to store more trays while they sit in blackout. It requires more money to buy blackout domes to cover each tray during blackout. Don't forget, you also need extra space to store the blackout domes when they're not in use. And lastly, it requires more labor and time to clean the blackout domes between uses to prevent disease transfer. So in conclusion, I believe we should avoid blacking out at all costs. Blacking out is an unnecessary step in producing microgreens. The costs far outweigh the benefits, in my opinion. If you need slightly longer stems for ease of harvesting, try just leaving your crops in germination for a day or two longer. Similarly, try putting the trays onto your grow racks, but keep the lights off for an extra day or two. The caveat here, obviously, is that this article is not relevant to crops that require blackout to grow, and the only microgreen of which I know this is applicable would be popcorn shoots, which spend their entire grow time in complete blackout. So before I wrap it up, a quick note about crop planning and order management. Running a microgreen farm can feel like a constant game of catch-up. Planting trays, managing blends, tracking orders. That's why we built Microgreen Manager. It's a tool that plans your week for you, tells you when soakings are going to happen, plantings, harvests, deliveries, and it's all generated automatically from your orders or your recurring plantings. It's made by growers, for growers, and there's a free plan if you want to try it out. There's also a 30-day free trial, so you can use it, explore all the features. When the 30-day free trial is up, you can upgrade to one of the paid plans, or you can use the free plan, which will be free forever. So learn more at microgreenmanager.com, and thanks for listening.